Alright, welcome to tips and tricks video for Pavlov VR. I do use an HTC Vive, so any tips are with that control scheme, just bear in mind. And with that, we'll get into the first tip. First tip is in the settings. So go to the settings, go to input and input vector. I personally use offhand as I think it's the best, and it has advantages over every other movement option. So the first movement option is head, which head movement option decides your trajectory based on where you're looking, so where your head is pointing. And this is okay, but if you're walking down and you're trying to look around for other people, you're going to be moving around without wanting to. If let's say you're walking down holding close to a wall, but you see something to either your left or right, and you look there and while still moving forward, you're going to move out and could potentially peak an angle or expose yourself to an angle that you didn't want to. So that's one disadvantage with the head option. Next movement is dominant, which uses, I'm left-handed, so my dominant hand is my left, but most people will be right-handed. So dominant hand tracks it, you move with your dominant hand. So if you go to peek around the corner and then there's too many enemies there and you go to back off while you're shooting, you might drop your mag at the same time, which is obviously a huge disadvantage. The pawn movement option. Next is the pawn movement option, which doesn't make a whole lot of sense to me. It seems to use one direction as forward, and that remains the same no matter where you're pointing or looking. Could be good if you get used to it, but I think the disadvantage would be that if you get flashed, for example, or just kind of lose your bearings, you'll lose your which way is forward, which might end up getting you killed. I use offhand, which is wherever your non-dominant, also known as not shooting hand, is pointing, is where you'll be moving. This says the advantage of being quite simple and easy to get used to, while also not having the disadvantages of many of the other movement methods. Right, the next tip is tip 2 is aiming, pre-aiming and pre-firing. So much like in Counter-Strike, you'll get to know the maps and pre-aim the corners and common angles that you'll see people in. And with Pavlov, a lot of general Counter-Strike tips apply. So if someone's been hiding in a corner for a few rounds in a row, you might want to. One thing you don't have to do in Pavlov that you have to do in Counter-Strike is physically expose yourself to pre-firing an angle. In Counter-Strike, you have to pop out, shoot, and then pop back. Whereas in Pavlov, because it's a virtual reality environment, you can literally just stick your gun around the corner and just shoot. So I'll show an example of the difference between Pavlov and Counter-Strike in a minute, but that's one thing. If you think there might be someone there, you can literally just take a little step in your zone, like play area, and just shoot around the corner. Tip 3 is pretty difficult, but it'd be, if you learn it, it's good to know. So you want to be aware of how much ammo you have left in the gun. So we'll explain this with a deagle. When you first load it, it will have 7 shots, so we'll count them out. 7 and it's empty. When an empty gun, put a new mag in, there's 7 shots. But if you cock the gun and then load again, there's 1 in the chamber and then 7 in the magazine. So now instead of 7 shots, you've got 8 shots. So once you shoot 7, you can then reload the mag and not have to cock it. So we're getting into another tip there with reloading, we'll go into that later, but the main point is to be aware of how many you've shot. So what you don't want to do is have to do a full reload in a fight. You want to be doing what they call tactical reloads, where you reload before your mag's empty. And that goes for every single gun. Like the AK has 30 rounds. Obviously if you're shooting auto, it's not as easy to keep track of, but you get a feel for it. You just, when you're practicing your spray control, you get a feel for how long the mag will spray for, and then you'll build up just a kind of like timing memory of it. Now, tip 4 is with reloading. And I see this way too often. They'll do a tactical reload, so they've sprayed a bit, and then they spray a bit, nowhere near emptied the mag, so change the mag, which is fine, tactical reload, and you've got unlimited mags. They put it in, there's one still in the chamber, but they cock it, and you see the bullet fly out, which you don't want, because you've just wasted a round. That could be the difference between life and death in this game. Like, just one shot could make all the difference. And I see loads of people do it routinely. They'll change mag, rack the bolt, casing flies out, or bullet flies out, because it's an unspent round. See it all the time. It does my head in. You can see it with the pistols, evidently. You shoot your pistol, and then it's got the slide back. You put a new mag in, see the bullet slide into the bolt, and then you can pull it back. You see it's in the chamber, drop the mag, you pull it back in, you still see it's still in the chamber. So then you put another mag in, as again you've now got an extra bullet. So like an AK will go from 30 shots to 31 shots, a Deagle goes from 7 shots to 8 shots, and so on. Every gun gets one extra because there's one in the chamber instead of in the mag when you put it in. So this also means that when you change mags, there's one in the chamber, so you don't need to cock it because it's already in the chamber. So when next time you fire, it will be there. There will already be one in there ready to cycle the next. This is another thing that does my head in. I watch people playing, and whenever they reload, they might find cover and stuff, which is fine, which you should be doing, cover and concealment, but they'll look down and then sort of slowly and awkwardly, even if they do it quick, they're still looking down to sort their to reload the gun, which is kind of a no-no. With any gun, pistol, rifle, anything, you want to keep your aim up. Aim where you were. Same with, it's like pre-firing and pre-aiming. You want to keep your gun aimed in the general direction of where you want to shoot. Just keep it up. Keep looking up. You don't want to look down away from everything else. Someone could, in that moment when you're looking down and reloading, someone could peek the corner and fucking blow your brains out. Whereas if you held the gun up, and if you're doing tactical reloads, so there's one in the chamber, even if you haven't loaded the next mag in yet, you can still pop one shot. Could save your life. You never know.